What's up, gamers? It seems Genshin actually hasn't forgotten about Geo, because after almost 2 years, they're finally releasing a brand new Geo character. 2 whole years, the Geo lovers have been sitting idly, waiting patiently for a new Geo character to come out. They're probably crystallized by now after waiting all that time. See what I did there? I'm sorry, that was a petrifying joke. I'm sorry you had to hear that. But in this video, I'm going to fill you in on everything you need to know about Navia. And so since I hate long intros, and I know you probably do too, let's get straight into the video. So Navia is a Geo Claymore DPS character that does most of her damage through her skill and her burst. Her normal attacks are just normal attacks that do physical damage. When you use her skill, she uses her umbrella, which is not really an umbrella, but the enemies don't need to know that. Her umbrella deals damage in front of her that can hit multiple enemies, but has a small AoE. Her skill can do a lot of damage because of an effect it has. The effect makes it so that whenever anyone in the party collects a crystallized shard, Navia gains a bullet. Now, no matter how many bullets you have, they will all be lost when she uses her skill again. What a bullet does is that it increases the base damage multiplier granted by her skill, and can be increased to a maximum of 200%. She can reach this when you have 3 bullets. Any bullets you have after 3 will increase the damage dealt by her skill by 15% up to a max of 45%. Keep in mind that the maximum amount of bullets she can have is 6. Her skill has 2 versions, a hold version and a tap version. When you hold her skill, she will not be able to move, she will gain a bunch of interruption resistance, and she will absorb all crystallized shards near her. For reference, when you hold Farina's normal attack, she switches from Ozia to Numa, but when doing that, she can't move at all. So using Navia's hold skill will probably work the exact same way. And how she absorbs crystal shards could be just like how Nivelet absorbs his nice, blue, clean balls. Even if you do her tap version or her hold version, her skill will have a 9-second cooldown. Another thing to note down is that she will also do Ozia damage with her skill once every 7 seconds. But that's it for her skill. Now let's talk about her burst. After casting Navia's burst, there is a rain of ice cream that follows Navia for 12 seconds. And for every 2.4 seconds of her burst being active, she will gain a bullet for her skill. Which means if my math was mathing, she gains 5 bullets throughout the duration of her elemental burst being active. Her burst ring of ice cream goes on even when Navia is off field and hits up to 16 times. It can generate crystallized shards, which can contribute a lot to her damage. This in general almost doubles the amount of bullets that she gains, which means her burst isn't useless at all. But now let's talk about her passives. Her first passive makes it so that after she uses her skill, she's granted Geo Elemental Infusion on her normal attacks. While she has this Elemental Infusion, she gains a 40% normal attack damage increase. And both her Elemental Infusion and 40% normal attack damage increase last for 4 seconds. This passive alone can make her normal attacks useful, but this depends on how much damage she does. Her second passive is also really helpful. For each Electro, Cryo, Pyro, or Hydro character in the team, Navia gains 20% attack. This stacks up to a max of a 40% attack buff. So unlike other Geo characters who would traditionally work the best in mono Geo teams, Navia gains some benefits from having any of those different elements in her team. So since you know about the basics of her kit, let's move on to her talent priority. So since Navia uses all 3 of her talents, it's fair to say that you should level them all up equally. But most of her damage comes from her skill, so that should be leveled up first. Then her burst should be leveled up second because it's another source of damage, and then her normal attack should be leveled up third since the elemental damage infusion it gives helps her become a main DPS. Keep in mind that both her burst and her normal attacks can be leveled up equally, but since her elemental infusion only lasts for 4 seconds, it's safe to assume it's not where most of her damage is coming from, unlike someone like Hu Tao. So in short, level up her skill, then her burst, then her normal attacks. But now let's move on to her best artifact set. The new Geo set, Nighttime Whispers of Echoing Woods, is going to be her best in slot, as the 2-piece grants her with an 18% attack increase. The 4-piece makes it so that after the wielder uses their elemental skill, they gain 16% Geo damage bonus for 10 seconds. It also grants them 24% Geo damage bonus when the on-field character has a Geo shield. This set grants her a lot of benefits as a main DPS, but Golden Troop helps her do a lot of damage with her skill for a more quick swap playstyle. Marisa Legacy Hunter can also work well on her if you're going for a more DPS playstyle and if you're going to pair her with Frina. But stats wise, her main stats should be the same as every other DPS in the game. Go for an attack percent Sands, a geo damage bonus Goblet, and a crit Circlet. For substats, you're mainly looking for crits, attack percent, and energy recharge. Go for around 140 to 150 energy recharge and try and get a 1 to 2 crit ratio. For the attack, try and range for about 1700 to 1900. And then you should go for EM. This is a joke, you know, because Geo has no reactions. And so if now for her best weapons. Her signature weapon increases crit rate, attack, and elemental skill damage when you collect crystallized shards. Her weapon helps her with everything in her kit, therefore making it her best in slot. Serpent Spine is her second best weapon because you gain damage bonus over time. If you have full stacks, it's really just an amazing weapon. The Unforged is her third best weapon because it increases her attack and increases it a lot more if you're protected by a shield. This is good because Navia's kit revolves around crystallized shields. Blackcliff Slasher is one of her best F2P weapons because it increases crit damage by 50% as a main stat, increases attack by a good amount. Quick pause, if you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to like and subscribe as I'm a small content creator and by you doing all this means a lot to me. Anyway, let's get into her constellations. Her first constellation decreases the cooldown of her burst and helps her generate more energy. This means that she can get her burst more often, and this indirectly buffs her skill by allowing her to have max bullet stacks. Her C2 increases the crit rate of her skill 2 by 8% based on how many bullets she has stacked. This maxes out at a 24% crit rate increase. This constellation makes it so that every time you use her skill, she will launch her supportive fire, otherwise known as her ice cream, at the enemy, making this constellation good for increasing her damage. Her third constellation is a skill talent upgrade. Her C4 makes her burst give the enemies a 20% geo resistance shred. Other geo members in her team can benefit from this constellation because it just means that they can do more damage to the enemy. Her C5 is a burst talent upgrade. And her C6 increases the crit damage of her skill by 35% for every bullet she has over 3. And every bullet she gets after the first 3 will be given back to her. This just allows her to do more damage consistently. This constellation sounds like it would help her do a lot more damage and makes her bullet stacks really good. But overall, her constellations aren't really that good, and I would definitely recommend keeping her at C0. Cause there isn't really that much that she lacks at C0, and not one of her constellations looks like a must pull. But lastly, let's talk about her best team comps. Navia can be played as a main DPS, but she helps the team the most as a sub DPS. This means playing her in a quick swap kind of playstyle is going to be your best bet. You can pair her up with another Geo unit that can deal a lot of damage like Noelle, Ningguang, or Ito, and the support could be Bennett or Goro. As for the last character, they can be a flex character like Zhongli, Albedo, or Shangling. Navia can be a sub DPS for the team, Noelle can be the DPS, Bennett can support the team with healing and attack buffs, and for the flex slot, you could go Albedo, Shangling, or Zhongli. But let's get into my opinion. In my opinion, I think that Navia herself is an amazing character. I think that she has potential to do a lot of damage and she could possibly save Geo. But in my opinion, Geo is just a terrible element. It doesn't work well with other characters, and even if Navia somehow finds a way to make some characters not of the Geo element fit into her team, they would most likely work better in different teams. Navia could be really good now, but somewhere in the future there's going to be a really good support character like Nahida or Kazuha, and they can't help support Geo even in the slightest. But at the end of the day, pull for the character if you like their playstyle, their design, or their personality lore-wise. I personally will not be pulling for Navia, but do please let me know down below if you think she's good or not. If you enjoyed the video, why not consider liking and subscribing, and if you noticed any mistakes or want to clarify something, make sure to comment it down below because I always want to improve my content for future videos. Thanks for watching, bye.